Alex, what are you doing?
I'm just typing a message to someone. I'll mute my mic until you've finished introducing, because there's loads of bikes going past.
Tell the bikes I said hi.
Okay, so being recording in 5, 4, 3. Oh, sorry. Damn it.
What comes after 3?
Okay. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Recording. Hello and welcome to End to End, the podcast where we talk about all things funny, a few things not. As always, I'm your host, Duhad. Joining me are Cabral095.
My chin's itchy.
Lightning Rabbit 101K.
Hello.
And Firebolt.
Yay, I'm here.
He's the
Yes.
only one that sounds like legitimately
He's the most
excited. Duhad's
upbeat
like,
one of
I'm
us all."
Duhad. I'm Lightning. My chin's itchy. Yay! Good introductions.
To be fair, you're never not sounding incredibly upbeat.
Which one, me or him?
You.
Oh, I thought you were referring to Fireball, because he's the one who said yay. I'm the one who said my chin's itchy.
Yeah, but the thing is, immediately after that, you went into a giant, rant about how happy you are and how, upbeat he was and positive.
It was sarcasm. I'm sorry. Sarcasm. Anyways, yeah. Anywho. Hello.
Anyway, sorry about that.
I'm not-
Anyway, yeah, so, since last time we talked, which was quite a little while ago, I know that episodes have gone up since the giant interim period, but this is the first time we managed to sit down and record for a while.
What he
In that-
means is lightning is unreliable.
Yeah, almost like lightning is unreliable.
That and I
Cabral-
was gone the whole month working.
Yeah. At any rate, in the time since we last finished, and since we last recorded, the second arc of the MLP IDW comic series has concluded. The last book having come out as of recording about a week ago.
Yes.
As of right now, all of you have had a chance to read it, I
Oh,
assume?
yes.
I got one yes.
Oh, right, you wanted a response, yeah.
Yeah, those tend to be helpful in conversations, Lightning. It's how it works. You talk back
I'm
to
getting
someone.
there.
He's
What was
getting,
it?
he's getting there with the response.
Oh, you're almost finished?
Almost.
Well, then let's keep
Okay.
talking
Oh,
about
Like,
it. While
I'm like at the climactic battle with Luna and Netmere Rarity, and it's really cool.
No, you ruined it.
By the way,
now.
spoilers!
well, no,
of course,
there's
there's going to be spoilers.
well, more than likely, the people listening to this have either read it or they're.
This is
Well,
this
they
is
haven't
supposed to
read
be
it.
a review. If we're reviewing the comic, it's just going to be like Fanatic Fiction. There will be spoilers for the comic.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
but
the problem with Fanatic Fiction is we tell you if you've read, you have to have read it, but then we just go over the entire story anyways, regardless if they've read it or not.
The
Well,
point is
right.
you still ruined it.
Yeah, the point is, we usually we'd probably actually go first for the things that just going over overall opinions, and then go. By the way, spoilers. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty now.
I think this is all
based on our-
academic at this point because he's already spoiled it
Yeah.
before we
Well.
said spoil it.
Well,
It
okay,
doesn't matter.
there was. I said one thing. There's still a lot more we can talk about. That's
It's fine. At this point, anyway, point is, since you actually haven't finished reading the comic, you can't give an overall opinion as to what you thought of this thing as a whole
Loser.
just yet. But shut up, Grawl. But anyway, we can. The rest of us can quickly go over overall opinion of this arc, especially as it compares to the first arc. Cabral?
Well, personally, I don't know. This one was only all right for me. I love the concept. The concept for the entire arc, I loved it a lot, but it was the way they executed it that I really did not approve of.
I don't know what you're talking about. This arc was better than the first one.
because
Lightning Rabbit?
because I have better opinions than you, and so
Lightning Rabbit. Sorry. Go on. Finish your point. Cabral.
I was just going to finish up that there was mostly I do love the concept, and also the what was it? There was a couple of scenes that I really enjoyed for the looks of art, and then there was the background with all the ponies. Ellie and I were reading through the comic series together as it was progressing along, and then in the background, hello person, and so in the sorry, in the backgrounds, if you notice, there's Doctor Who's, but there's two Doctor Who's sometimes, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's the Doctor and the Doctor, because they had Tennant and Matt Smith in one frame, and then they had
Baker in one.
Yep, Tom Baker, and then they had Tennant, and then they also had Tennant in the fight scene with his sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
I like the background hints and nods they definitely gave in that. But the puns,
some of them were
lots of background
the
stuff.
puns, they burned. They were horrible puns. They hurt so much. I thought you said it'd be a happy comic. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'll go into more detail later.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Alex, Reagan, heckin', what? So who's he? What's it?
I agree.
Lightning, what did you think of?
Time for
this
censor
arc?
bleeps. I liked the arc, particularly seeing Luna just in general, and then she got to wear armor. That was my main focus, of course.
But that's
very
not even the
critical
point of the
eye,
whole
yeah.
comic.
Yeah, it was good armor, and I should know I've vectored enough armor in my time.
Yeah, 3 pieces. Actually, 5. 6.
Quite a lot more pieces. But my point is that I did like, obviously the art style was on par as usual. It was very good. The story, well, it had Luna in it, so I can't complain there. But I liked the Chrysalis one because it introduced a new side to Chrysalis which you didn't see in the show.
The
And I
art was
feel
better,
like
too.
this, while it was a good arc, not saying anything against the actual story of it, it didn't really introduce any necessarily new concepts apart from a few which I might go into later,
Well, that's
because it
not
was just Nightmare
necessarily
Moon again.
true, because it was Nightmare Moon again, but the problem with Nightmare Moon in the first place was that it was in the first 2 episodes, which was more focused on the main 6 and their elements and stuff like that. We didn't see much of Nightmare Moon, to be honest. You know, maybe 5 minutes of screen time at the end of the second episode.
Yeah, then you have to remember most of the time, the rest of the
It is
time, she
true.
was a
Like,
blue
we
witch.
definitely got a backstory to Nightmare Moon and a kind of a
But
more filled
yeah.
out character for her. But
The thing is, if you fill the character with nothing but blandness, it's not really all that much of an improvement.
Yeah, that's very
yeah,
true.
My point was that it does fill out the character a lot more, but she is doing the exact same thing that we've seen in the show to an extent. And like I said, I'll go into it later. It is different, but on the surface, it does seem a bit like it's the same thing that happens in the show. Whereas Chrysalis, she kills a baby thing, and
He kills a baby thing.
and it splatters. It's
Capture the CMC,
slightly different, and she does I think Chrysalis is. I mean, I like the personality that they've given the main antagonist in this, but Chrysalis's personality in that
And also,
first arc was
I
very
love
good.
the art style a bit more in that one as well.
Yeah, Andy Price really I don't want to harp on the person who did the art in this one because she's a darn fine artist.
Oh
but
yeah, she's a good artist. I'm not
Andy
complaining there.
Price is so unbelievably good. Like he's so unbelievably funny, and his background jokes are so
Background jokes are
perfectly
good,
timed.
but my favorite for Andy Price is the facial expressions he
Oh
has.
god, his facial expressions are hilarious. Like the thing is,
And they capture
really
so
isn't-
much.
There really isn't a comparison between the two in terms of artistic ability. Like the thing is, you have a really good artist on this arc, and then a fantastic artist on the last arc.
Yeah, it's just
And it
different art
does-
style as well, capturing different things.
I just, I don't see it. I love the art style for this this arc.
That's
Absolutely
fine.
loved it.
Oh, it is good.
Oh
yes,
yeah, I liked it
definitely.
too. I just like the other one better.
It's the other one was significantly better. Is the thing? It's like you have
Yeah, but we
good,
keep comparing
you have
the second
great.
art to the first one. By itself, yes, it's fine. I like it actually.
But have you finished the 4th comic?
Like another 2 pages.
Well then, Duhad, what is your opinion?
Well,
Our mighty host.
the thing is,
Of
with the
Gondor.
first arc, I picked up the first book without even really thinking I'd be interested in the comic series as a whole. Like the first, comic of the first arc had the incredibly difficult job of making me go from I don't think buying comics monthly is a financially viable or worthwhile decision to get me to not only give an MLP comic a shot, but also just a comic in general a shot. Not only did it manage to succeed with flying colors and making me an absolute addict to these comics, and getting me to actually buy several other comics from other series just because I enjoyed it so much. You know, like it did a job that was basically impossible and managed to just ace it with flying colors. So inherently, that sets two things for this arc. It means that for this arc to, you know, like really be great for me, it has to beat the fantastic first arc, which it, you know, would have a very hard time doing. I've already said they didn't succeed on the art, but you know, it had to have got, you know, the writing had to beat out Katie Cook's writing, and you know, the humor and characterization, like the humor had to beat out, you know, Cook's and Andy Price's humor, and the, you know, emotions of the characters had to beat what they managed to accomplish in the first arc, where it's really like the first arc managed to make me really care about the CMC even more than I had before. It actually, you know, put Rarity hugely, you know, up in my estimation, especially with her bits with Applejack, where it's, you know, talking about like why her
fond of Rarity. She's just hilarious.
The thing is, like, this gave her more elements. Like, the thing is, like, her biggest, you know, concern, the thing that the Changelings play on in the first arc is all about her insecurities about, you know, how much she actually cares about her sister.
Yeah.
You know, that was really resonant for me. And, so, like, you know, this comic, like, this arc had to do insanely well in order to top the first arc. But on the other hand, I had such a high opinion of the stuff in general, but also such a low opinion from a lot of the micro books. It had to do really badly in order for it to fail. So pretty much it was almost guaranteed to hit a middle ground, not really being overly impressive, not being overly bad.
Well, and it's really hard. It's really, really hard to beat out the first arc, just because it was the first time we had ever seen this stuff, and it was so amazing that, you know, you're going into a comic series that, you know, you're like, okay, I'll give it a try, and we'll see what happens, and then you get blown away. Yeah. Well, then after that, now you have this like expectation that it has to be just as high quality. Whereas
I've already had my expectations lowered like crazy thanks to the micro books, which for the most part have been horrible.
No, I like the Rainbow Dash Rarity. And the Fluttershy one was it was cute, actually.
Yeah, the Fluttershy one was pretty cute. The Rainbow Dash one was all right. The Rarity one was incredible. But like the Twilight book was terrible. The Dash book was, you know, the Dash book, while being all right, wasn't exactly anywhere near the quality of either of the first.
No, but I still enjoyed it, actually.
No, I still enjoyed it. But the thing is, my expectations weren't as high as they could, you know, had been right out.
And Rarity came out.
Then Rarity came out, yeah.
I mean, you know, one thing is that about the second arc that I really enjoyed that wasn't in the first arc is that the first arc was a lot of adventure, and they get to Chrysalis and they defeat Chrysalis and, you know, save the CMC. But at the very end of this comic, it's all about friendship. It's a friendship lesson like you would see in the show, but it's a lot darker of a.
But here's the thing. See, the point I was trying to get to before about how this had to do really well or really badly in order to break out of that, you know, mold for me, it actually did. It broke out of that mold. It, you know, like it had to be, you know, for it to be great for me, or for it to be really bad for me, it had to break out of that mold, you know, that the first arc and the micro books had brought in for me. And here's the thing. It did. It succeeded. It succeeded in making me actually really dislike this arc. I thought the art was all right. I thought the writing was all right. I thought the background jokes were kind of failures for the most part. Like, there was some kind of cute stuff, but there was a lot of really, really blatant jokes that really didn't work for me. And the thing is, the whole story failed. Really failed for me. Because the thing is, the whole idea is it takes, you know, the character of Rarity is basically, you know, slandered in this story. You know, they take her character and basically like, she's, you know, she's really self-centered, and she's, you know, like she requires other people to be constantly taking from her in order to feel good about herself, which doesn't feel true to her character. Then, you know, they have the character of Luna, you know, basically spends the entire story running away from her problems until the very end, where it just feels like she kind of out of nowhere is just like, oh wait, no.
Oh wait, I have armor.
Here's something that I should have realized since, you know, the Nightmare Night episode. It's like, it's almost as though she forgot all the lessons she learned in Luna Eclipsed.
You mean all the lessons
in order to in order to relearn them for this book, but while also having the social things from Luna Eclipse stick. So it feels really inconsistent in that way. Then the character of Nightmare Rarity, like, that's such a great idea. It's so good. And it's so badly executed.
Yeah, that's why I said the concept. I love the concept of this arc.
I mean, all she is it's like, oh, here's the character of Nightmare Moon. It's like Nightmare Moon. But instead of being evil, she's just really vain. Like, that's it. That's her whole character. Her
Yeah.
villainy is being kind of vain.
And also,
Really?
oh, go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your villain. Someone
Uh-huh.
who's kind of vain. And
I
a
don't know
bunch
if-
of smoke clouds. Really?
It was her weakness.
We
though,
went
that-
from
was her
Chrysalis
weakness.
and the Changelings and the flesh-eating plants and the jackalopes and the chupacabras and the giant cockroaches to a bunch of smoke monsters and a kind of vain lady who's defeated. And I don't have a problem with the way they defeated her because the way they defeated her is very true to the original defeat of Nightmare Moon and
Yeah, it is.
The Discord episode and all that. But the thing is, like, she does nothing. She accomplishes nothing before being defeated. And, when they do defeat her, like the icing on the cake, the
Yeah.
thing that just always made me, close the comics in, anger was like, Rarity's first reaction upon being, freed from the nightmare is to insult someone else. Is to go like, oh, you didn't leave me, like, wait, you guys still care about me? You didn't leave me for some ugly person who has no fashion sense and braces and sucks? Like, what the fudge
In fact, it does
did you
actually
do to Rarity?
It does stay true in one respect that she doesn't actually accomplish anything because Nightmare Moon didn't really either.
It's true. Neither of them actually accomplished
Well, the thing
anything.
is, it's like it's nothing happened. Like, all the character development was basically retreading old stuff. They like tantalizingly hinted a whole bunch of really cool ideas and then just kind of dropped them. Like, they do a whole thing with like, oh, like they have a good bit with Spike. I like the fact that Spike is fairly central to like the resolution. But then they do a whole thing with like Sweetie Belle. It's like one of the best relationships in the show is between Rarity and Sweetie Belle. And Sweetie's role in this story is less than the Changeling story. The story where she's which wasn't even about Rarity. Like, the Rarity story had less Sweetie Belle like focused interaction than the primarily Twilight Chrysalis focused story.
Well, what they were going with is that the writer was focusing more on the Spike Rarity relationship than it was focusing on the.
Yeah, but
I
you think-
couldn't tell.
And Price had a story that was primarily about the relationship between Twilight's character growth and Chrysalis, and yet they managed to fully develop all of the main characters and the CMC, and even give a little bit of interesting stuff for Spike and Celestia to do to fill out their characters. This one, despite being a primarily Rarity-focused story, they do nothing with Rarity. They do a bit with Spike. They do very little with the other characters. They're pretty much just there for comic relief. They don't actually really accomplish anything except for pull a Deus Ex Machina out of nowhere at the end. And Luna apparently has character development, but it's retreading old stuff. In fact, the weird thing is probably the character who has the best character development, and the character who I actually like the most, not like the most when I was done with it, but like the character whose my opinion grew the most from out of this whole story was probably Trixie. And I hate Trixie, but
Trixie didn't say anything.
yeah, she did. She had one line.
She did have one line, actually.
She had
She
one
sat
line,
next
and-
to, I think it was Celestia, and she's had her line too, actually.
Yeah, and her one line, was better character development than any of the other characters got in the story. Like her,
It was beyond cheesy, though.
It was beyond cheesy, but at least it felt like proper development of her character. No one else had development quite as good as that, and that's sad. Though to be fair, I did love the slugs. The slugs were amazing.
The slugs.
Slugs, the color changing slugs. Like, I love those designs. I want those. I want them everywhere. They are the best. The Moon Monsters designs overall were really uninspired and lame, but the slugs were awesome.
Yeah, once again, though, I just say, concept, brilliant. I love the concept and idea. It just needed better execution.
Yeah.
Your turn, Lightning. Firebolt. Firebolt, second Lightning. You know what? I don't even know. I'm just going to make stuff up every time I talk to you.
Yeah, you're just gonna call me a different name every single time.
Yeah, so anyways, Chuck, go ahead and give your opinion.
Okay. With this arc, first of all, you have to take into account that
No, we don't.
is probably, obviously my favorite princess.
She's the only
What I felt,
princess for me.
what I felt about this is that she, you said she was running away for the entire time. It's not true, because she goes, she takes them to the moon, and she runs away because she has to go and save save Ponyville because the main six tell her that they've got it handled, and if they can't stop these guys on the moon, then Ponyville's going to be the next one to.
I don't see why it wouldn't be Candelot. Candelot
fall.
seems more like a strategic sort of attacking point instead of the Ponyville, but that's just me.
Except for Ponyville is their home.
Well, yeah,
but why would they attack there first? I mean, the Chrysalis's attack on Ponyville was because she was directly trying to target Twilight. There's no reason for Rarity to go after Ponyville.
Yeah, if she wants to rule the world, then she'd probably go after Candelot first, go after the bigger cities, then take out the smaller ones. Just an idea.
There was a reason for it, and I can't remember what it was because it was back in the first comic where they talked about it.
The rabbit goes skim it. No, never mind.
But and I was very. I actually really liked this series simply because, like I said, the art style was really good. I liked the idea of these nightmares that that all the main six are having, being caused by Nightmare Moon, or I guess the remnants of Nightmare Moon. And you're criticizing the villains because they're smoke monsters. Why is that a bad thing? Because that seems to be actually pretty true to what these things are. It's not like, oh, they're smoke monsters, that's a dumb idea. No, that's a pretty cool idea in this
Why
case.
is it a cool idea? Explain to me why it's a good idea.
Why is it a bad idea?
Because they are uninspired in design. They have, the cloudy nature of their design makes them less intimidating. The fact that they don't actually, do much doesn't exactly help. The fact that they kind of take the idea of the moon, which should be about desolation and loneliness, and kind of turn it into a very crowded, the art style is extremely crowded, so the whole thing looks visually busy, which it shouldn't for the idea of desolation and loneliness on the moon. The whole thing just feels off. This should have been like a swamp monster design, but they just threw it on the moon because, hey, we've already got this design figured out. Let's just use it here.
Well, no, and the thing about the mist, the shadow mist form is, that it could be a lot worse than they made it. The problem is that this is at its core it's still supposed to be a children's comic. It's supposed to not be too scary. That's why they have the comic relief.
You didn't read the Chrysalis one, did you?
And it makes the smoke monsters a lot less intimidating when they're talking about, when they're talking between themselves, and it's like, calling each other Larry, and just
Larry.
It loses its intimidation factor when they talk about it that way.
The thing is, that type of humor doesn't really work in the MLP setting. Those names don't, happen. They don't occur there. Having the jokes, an example of a joke that worked well in the original one that kind of follows the same sort of trend was having the background joke of having the leader of the Diamond Dogs being Ziggy Stardust. The thing is, Ziggy Stardust, I guess the name probably doesn't exist in MLP, but the thing is, they've already made the joke that the Diamond Dogs are Diamond Dogs. They're named after a Bowie album. So you make the joke that the head of the Diamond Dogs is Ziggy Stardust, another, the character that David Bowie played in several albums prior to the release of the Halloween Jack album where the Diamond Dogs were introduced. So, it works. It's consistent with the setting. Larry, Smoke Monster named Larry doesn't really fit. It doesn't feel natural to the humor. It just feels a bit forced.
Right. But I did find out why they attacked Ponyville in the first place. Uh-huh. The idea is that the elements of harmony live in Ponyville.
But they have the elements of harmony.
Huh?
They have the elements of harmony, and also the reason that she, the Queen Rarity thingy, evil thingy, Vane thingy, kidnapped the main six in the first place and took over Rarity was so the elements of harmony wouldn't work on her. So why would she attack?
Yeah, but at this point in time, at this point in time, Rarity hadn't changed over yet.
Yeah, but why did she continue to do it even after that? The thing is, they caught Rarity. They were like, okay, we've already got this bit figured out.
Let's go attack a small, rugged town in the middle of a valley.
Let's make the worst tactical decision we can because we've already beaten it.
Also, Luna should have had silver
But you
armor.
say the worst tactical position, it's.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like even
Okay,
the
I
other
have a
ones,
good
they
example.
do actually, like, the changelings didn't attack Ponyville, they attacked Canterlot. Like, why? Because that's, the villains in the series are smart.
Okay, it's like an army coming over to attack California. They attack my little town in the center of the state. Yes, it's 40 miles away from the capital, which Ponyville's probably similar to that in some ways. But they didn't attack the bigger cities like Los Angeles, where there would be more damage, as well as that. There's bigger army bases down there.
But here's
as well.
the thing: this is Ponyville. If it's like you say, this little town that that has little tactical,
Advantage.
advantage.
Value.
Why did they win then?
They don't win.
Yes, they did.
Land and
Ponyville-
instantly
Ponyville
lose.
won.
Ponyville won because they already moved all their troops to there. They had the main six
All their
and
troops?
there.
They had every.
They're the princesses. They had living gods there.
They had They had Celestia and Luna there.
And
Everyone
they had
else
guards.
was
They had guards too.
a citizen of Ponyville. They just had there were no royal guards there.
Which is another thing. That doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. I mean, at least in the Chrysalis books, the reason why Celestia wasn't involved is actually explained as a whole bunch of other bad stuff was going on. This was like the princesses show up, but they just didn't bring guards because, why not?
Well, actually, no, they brought a couple guards. If you look at the backgrounds during some
Yeah,
of the
they
fight
are in
scenes,
the
there's
background.
guards.
They're
Alright.
kind of useless, though. They always have been, unfortunately.
They always have kind of been.
They should get some new guards. Go recruit
Yeah.
some
You've got-
Ponyvillians.
You bring the whole Royal Guard out to Canterlot, and they're all defeated in about 5 seconds, and the only time you actually see them during the attack is 2 that have been stuck to the floor.
Actually, to be fair, the one time the guards have actually been useful was in the little side story at the end of the 4th issue, where it showed that they actually helped lead, they helped in the final assault with Spike and Celestia against the giant
Yeah.
cockatrices.
That was the only time.
They had one job.
And
They
they
did
did
it once.
They did it. They had one job and they did it once.
But I mean, I guess one of the things that I really loved about this comic, was just like you said, just all the detail they had in the background and just the little things that they put in there that unless you were into the fandom, you wouldn't even understand it. They had a picture of Wildfire running next to Mandapony in the background, and you wouldn't.
That's right. They had
even understood
Mandapony
what
in
that
there,
meant.
huh?
Yeah, they did have some Mandapony stuff, which was actually pretty cool.
And you wouldn't even understand what that meant unless you were a fan of the show or the fandom, because I mean they have Cranky Doodle Donkey in the background.
I saw that.
A shout out there. Spitfire was there a couple of times.
They had the Doctor
You know-
6 times.
And is that? I think that's Tara Strong. I think Tara Strong is in here.
Yeah,
as
they
well.
have the Tara Strong's OC appears.
And obviously they have the 2 different doctors as well.
3 different doctors.
Yeah,
They had Baker Doctor as well.
yeah. Tom Baker,
Oh.
Matt Smith, Doctor Who's, which is David Tennant, and then I think they had Eccleston for some reason.
What's the one that likes fezzes?
That's
That would
Smith.
be Matt Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt Smith is Fez's. The scarf and the big poofy hair was Baker.
And then Tennant seemed to be the normal Doctor Who's.
Yeah. And
Well,
then-
Eccleston.
I think they had Eccleston though.
I think they have like an Eccleston, but with like a short-haired doctor. But I don't remember. I can't remember.
Well, actually, he'd be bald. Well,
Well,
no, Eccleston
yeah.
is short hair.
Almost bald.
Almost
like,
bald.
very short hair.
Pretty much bald. Technically, like his coat is hair. So
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I did see a doctor with short hair, but yeah.
I like Eccleston. He gets a lot of shit, but he's cool.
I like me. I'm a better Doctor. No,
You're the worst
I'm
doctor.
the 13th Doctor. I'm the bad number.
You keep on stealing people's skeletons. It's terrible.
Oh yeah. Well, I need to borrow them for stuff. Anyways, we should move on.
Probably, yeah. Well, anyway, all right.
I dropped
you
it.
make a fair point, and anyone who does enjoy the second arc, more power to them. I'm personally really looking forward to when Katie Cook and Andy Price return for the next 2 arcs, which are going to feature Big Mac,
And Cheerlead.
Big Mac's ventured story. That is going to be amazing.
Yeah, Big Mac is 9 and 10.
Yep.
And
Celestia.
Cadence in Shining Armor
Cadence
is
Shining Armor is
11 and 12.
Yeah.
Yes, which both sound amazing, both being done by Andy Price and Katie Cook. Though unfortunately, Heather Grekel is not going to be doing the art. They have a new art person, colorist. Sorry,
colorist.
Not artist, colorist.
Well, Andy Price. This shouldn't be making much of a difference.
Price draws the pictures and does the lettering and the
And then she
balloon
just colors
bubbles.
it in pretty much.
Yeah, she colors it in. She's an extraordinarily good colorist, and it is a shame to see her go. But most of the original creative team is going to be back on that, and it's going to be pretty awesome. But hey, if you enjoyed these books, more power to you, and hopefully you'll get to see this team return for another arc down the line.
Yes, and I look forward to the next micro series, hoping it's actually who's the next one. We don't know who.
I have no idea.
Pinkie Pie.
Well,
Yes,
I know it's
Pinkie
I meant who's writing and who's drawing it. I forgot.
I don't know. It's not this. It's not the team.
Yeah, it's not. Actually, it's not any of the teams who did the previous one. So.
Yeah, no. The micro books have generally been their own things. I think if they had one micro book that did as well as the Rarity one, that they'd probably bring that team on to do a proper arc. But as we haven't seen one to hit that level yet.
Yeah, but we have a new one. I'll see how the new one is.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There's
I
still
mean, I haven't
chances.
minded the micro comics. I read the Twilight one. I only read the other 3.
The Twilight one was not very good.
Yeah,
but the other one.
That's what I heard.
all right.
So, like I said, I read Rainbow Dash, Rarity, and Fluttershy. I enjoyed those.
Good. Anyway, apart from that, I know that we were actually playing before it came out, and this episode was slightly delayed. But before it came out, we were going to try and have one last talk about Equestria Girls with the new trailer that came out relatively recently. But now the movie's actually aired, and apparently initial reactions are really good. Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic have both listed as having an extraordinarily high overall rating. Let's see if I can look that up real quick. You could probably start saying something while I'm doing this, so that there's not dead air.
Well, what I heard was just that the stuff that we were worried about, that the fans were worried about, weren't as big of a deal as we were worrying.
Worried.
The fact that there was a romance thing, which apparently is a non-issue, which is like it's there, but it's very, very light.
It's because Secretly Gummy is Brad.
And then there's, from what I heard, the music is really good. So, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it, and I probably won't see it for a while.
I'll probably see it next week before I go to Fiesta.
Okay, so it is. It got an 81 liked it rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on and from 1,559 user reviews, there was an average for the user reviews of 4.1 out of 5. So
okay, yeah. Seems
generally
not done bad.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rate no Pixar film, but it should be interesting. I'm probably going to see that in theater.
So hey, apparently it's pretty good. Also, despite the fact that apparently there is a romantic subplot in the story, the writers have confirmed that the character of what the hell's his name?
Brad.
No, well, Brad's just a fan name for him.
Oh, it is?
The actual, the actual pony's name that
Shining Armor.
It's
Flash.
Flash Sentry. Flash Sentry.
Flash Sentry. There we go.
Flash Sentry, who is, as I suspected, the head of the Crystal. He's a Crystal Empire guard.
So he snuck into the Earth.
And yet he's the only one not wearing crystal armor.
Yeah. So he's he's the love interest character, but he's not going to be appearing in season 2.
Yeah, I heard, and as well, the movie is non-canonical to the series.
Yeah. So hey. Movie looks pretty good, and if you're worried about that chase, it's not actually going to be canonical and won't be appearing in
the only thing that's going to be
calm down.
The only thing that's going to be weird for me is sitting down in the theater saying this is actually 72 minutes of pony, and I don't know. It's just weird.
Actually, to be fair, it's like 5 minutes of pony and then a bunch of
it's even weirder. But overall, I mean, like everything's been 22 minutes for watching pony stuff, and then you're just like 72. Huh.
Wait, everything for you has been 22 minutes of watching pony stuff?
Episodes.
How do you watch NLP, sir? Because they're not watching 4 episodes at a time.
No.
The only thing I would say is that I did change my mind after the second trailer. Yeah, because the first trailer really didn't give us much. And it was very cheesy in a way.
It was pretty bad.
I know, but I mean, it didn't really give us much of an inkling as to how, what quality it would be. It didn't seem very sort of, the second one was a lot more sort of.
The second one was a lot better.
Yeah, they've got this sort of formula they use to make you want to go and see a movie, and they definitely used it on that one because I reevaluated my position on the thing, and
I'm still wondering if they answer the question: why in the hell does Princess Celestia have a mirror like that? Actually, no, it's in the Crystal Empire.
Actually, she does. I don't
it's
think
in
she
the
does. It's in
Crystal Castle, isn't it? So why
That
does
doesn't excuse it
So
being.
what, Cadence
so why
have
does
that?
Cadence
Sombra-
have that? It was Sombra's clearly, and that's where he learned
Yeah,
about
Sombra.
slinkies. Ah, it makes sense
Surely-
now.
Surely you can't use the excuse that, oh, it was Sombrous. That's like saying, oh, well, there's this extremely dangerous thing that leads to another dimension that the old evil person had, but we're not going to get rid of it. We're just
Well,
gonna
he
leave
nailed
in
it
a
to the
room
floor, so we
without
can't
a
really
lock
get rid
on
of
the
it.
Door.
Yeah, it might not have been like Somra's, originally.
What's funny is I want to know if they even knew what it was, because it's not like Sunset Shimmer takes the crown and then runs into the portal. She gets tackled by Twilight and the crown falls into the mirror. It's like, I wonder if
Yeah.
they even knew what it was.
It's entirely possible they didn't. It's like, something that had been set up, and they're like, okay, we can't destroy this.
Well,
So
they
let's
can't.
just,
They can't break
put it
the
away.
glass because
But
they'll
wait,
just
but
go through
Celeste-
it.
Wait, didn't Celestia in the trailer say, you'll know more about this world than even I do?
Yeah, it
So she
implies
must
that
have
she
known
doesn't even.
about
No, it implies that she doesn't know anything about this. She's like, I don't want
I
to
know, but
go
it
in there.
implies that she knows that she doesn't know about the world at all, but it implies that she knows that it leads to another world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could be that they're like just like, okay, like this is Sombra's portal that.
Well,
you,
and here's the thing: is that
I'm thinking it's Sombra's.
from what I've heard, the previews don't do it justice, but apparently, like the first third of the movie takes place in the Pony World. Like it's a long time they spend.
Oh, so
in
like 23
the
minutes.
Pony World
Okay.
Before she.
Twen-
Yeah, something like
that's-
that.
Good, I guess, actually. because
Also,
have no
I hear
problem
that we
with
need to save for the end credits.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
heard.
what
too,
everyone
yeah.
keeps saying.
well, it's
That's
all
not very
music
helpful
by,
since I can't see it because they don't air it in this country.
Ha ha ha. Ha
also, the
Ah.
closest theater to me is in Massachusetts, which is 2 states.
The closest
away.
one to me is about 200 miles away over by where Surefire lives. Yeah.
Really? I could go to one that's about 30 miles away, but I mean,
Yeah, see,
I'm probably not going
I
to
went
do
on
that.
to line like onto the things like type in your zip code to see like what where the movie where the nearest
His answer
theater
is
is.
you're
to you.
screwed.
Put in the zip code. The answer was literally, "I'm sorry, this no theater exists." Like I eventually had to go down like the entire list, and it's like Maine. Okay, nothing in Maine, nothing in New Hampshire. There's one in
Well,
Massachusetts.
what about Vermont?
Like,
Vermont's closer to Massachusetts.
there might be one in Vermont, but like that's still a 4-hour
But
drive.
it's better than going to
I
Massachusetts,
will
isn't it?
say,
You know what's funny is that we're going down to
Actually, no, Massachusetts is only
Yes,
2 hours.
question.
No.
There's 3 separate theaters in Houston that are playing the movie. I don't know if they're playing it that weekend though.
I think
What's
one of them
weird
was
is that
playing it
this
that
isn't-
weekend.
It's just 4 hours to get to my old college.
Well, I mean, like as
Dude,
far
I
as I
still
was
talking
aware,
to himself.
as far as I was aware, the movies are only playing like every other weekend. Like it's not even every day. It's just like
Yeah, well, I don't think it's intended to be like a big theatrical
And besides,
release film.
the
It's-
DVD comes out in August.
Yeah,
I will say,
what I want to know is if it gets released on iTunes or Netflix by that time as well.
I'm guessing probably, yeah. In fact, I'm guessing it'll probably come out a little bit before the DVD is actually released.
Because I'd like to see it soon, but I mean I'm not going to be able to see it unless we either go and see it in Houston or if I get it online somehow.
I'd say just
Um,
yeah.
I'm just gonna wait until it comes out on iTunes. It's a bit of a wait, but it's not
I'll
that
be
long.
probably going.
You know,
I'll probably
have
be
it
going
for
to San
PC.
Francisco to go watch it.
I do just want
No, you
to
don't.
say one thing. It's quite kind of it's quite funny how someone's uploaded some of the songs recorded direct from the theater room to
Oh, this sounds
YouTube.
horrible.
Yeah, and they haven't uploaded the whole film. They've uploaded just the songs. Like that makes it any less illegal.
I'm just gonna put the song up.
It's like I won't upload the whole film. I'll upload some of the songs because that'll at least reduce my sentence by about 5 minutes. I'll still have to spend a couple of years in.
Yeah, it's sort of weird.
No.
Also, again, the quality is crap.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Oh, and the worst thing is that they've got a YouTube video on their channel which shows their face as well. So it's like, oh, hi authorities, do you want to come and arrest this guy?
Yes, we do.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Or girl. Not
It.
gonna-
Well, we can't pick of gender. Gender neutral.
Hold on,
It.
wait, hold on. So you saw the person's face and you can't determine their gender.
No, I'm saying it because it's like.
Well, we do live in
I'm trying to
America,
Make
so-
it hard for the authorities to realise.
So you're trying
or it
to
could be a girl.
deliberately-
I'm not going to tell you who it is.
So you're deliberately trying to withhold information from the authorities.
I'm
You're
not
aiding and
withholding it, I'm
abetted
just
a
making it
criminal.
slightly harder
It's
to
okay.
get.
He's in England.
I don't think that
The
most
worst
state
they can
police
do
don't want to go that
is
far.
Say,
You're aiding and
the worst
abetting.
thing they can do is wasting police time. They can't do harbouring a fugitive or anything like that, because all I've
You
done
are,
is slow
you are
it down.
aiding and abetting a known fugitive.
I'm not
the infamous-
aiding.
known fugitive.
The infamous movie.
I am at worst impeding their duties, which is wasting police time. I am not harbouring.
They will
them or-
drag you down to the stocks and
I was
slap
going
your
to say down at
eyes.
the bottom of the channel, but that works too.
Why the bottom of
Well,
the
because
channel?
it's closer than the ocean. It is the ocean.
I don't really get where you're going. with that, but
I don't
okay.
either.
The English channel, not the YouTube channel.
Top Gear came to mind. Anyways,
Do they regularly toss people into the channel? On
well,
Top
actually,
Gear?
that wouldn't surprise me if they did.
They
Well,
don't.
they should. Well, I just remember them.
Coming from the country that apparently would put me in stocks for harbouring a fugitive.
Well, I know
Yeah.
with Top
Or
Gear,
is
they
it-
built amphibious vehicles when they tried to cross the channel, and they failed miserably, except for... Who was it? Clarkson? Clarkson, yeah. He made a vehicle that crossed the channel. Yeah, the other ones, their
You
vehicles
don't
sank.
suppose we're getting off topic a little bit?
One of them capsized.
I saw that
It
episode.
was funny.
I don't know about Top Gear, because ironically...
You
it's
live
been
in
from my country
England!
I don't want...
Well, United
Well,
Kingdom.
Yeah.
he does
Well,
live in England.
specifically England, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
that does work.
then that's where the show's based. It's in whatever town I can't think of is that one.
Yes, I know it is.
In London town.
It's not near London. It's some miles away from London.
It's not really London.
Alex, sorry, damn it, Lightning, Lightning. You live in London. You can just pop on down because everything in England is about 30 blocks from everything else in England. So you can
That's
just
true.
hop on down.
I
to
mean,
the
Scotland's only
local
4 miles
Top Gear
away,
shop.
right?
And I've watched the Top Gears.
Yeah, I mean, come on, because England,
So everyone
it's
here's
like,
seen Top Gear but the Rabbit.
It's like 5 miles wide.
Actually, I don't watch Top Gear either. I don't watch
I
any
watch
television.
it sometimes, but very rarely now, because I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have
you
time.
just saw the
It's on
one where they went
Netflix,
to
I watch it
America.
all the time. My friends used to watch it all the time. That's why I watched it with them.
Because it's hilarious. And the only one that you really remember seeing is the one where they go to America and they're almost killed, right?
They just land and immediately some guy.
Well, you see, they went to the south of America, so in those southern states, and they had to make it so the other teammate was killed and they get extra points and stuff like that. So they started decorating their cars, with gay rights on the side of them, and then they had something about Sarah
Yeah, they go
Palin.
to the south. I have actually seen that bit.
and
They
then
go
they
to the
have,
south of
and then they
America.
have, what
Actually, I
was
think
it?
I did see that one.
There's
and
a
then there was
sticker
something
that
else
says
too, but
NASCAR
anyways-
sucks in the back.
Yeah. NASCAR sucks, and people were throwing rocks at them, giving them all these looks.
Literally, they
Oh.
almost get shot at one point. I think, or loads
Yeah.
of people just come up to them at the gas station and they pull over.
And then,
this is just
instantly
the
they pull over
cars
side
are
road and start cleaning their cars.
Yeah, well, you see that one bit in the BronyCon documentary where the kid
Oh, yeah.
had a pony sticker and some guy bashed his window in for it.
Oh yeah, that's the South for you. They're the South.
Should have run him over,
that was
goddammit.
Well, to be fair, he was in
Accept
the
that.
Midwest, he was in
That was like
mountain country.
Virginia, too. Imagine if you went to Georgia with that.
Oh
Please
my
don't
gosh,
go
or
to
Alabama.
Georgia. You're
Alabama.
implying that anyone would want to go to Georgia.
Well, Georgia's not as terrible as Alabama,
No
Mississippi, and
offense.
Louisiana.
Yeah,
As long as
to be
it's
fair.
the only place that I would comfortably go in America, just because I don't know the rest of it very well, is New York and California, and even California has a rough side.
Wait,
to
you
it.
go to New York or California?
You'd go to the mugging capital of the world, or
I know,
the
right?
forest fire.
The
country.
only
Why don't you
reason-
go to-
the only
why don't
reason
you
I'm
go to North
basing that-
Dakota? You can go
The
to
only
North
reason I'm
Dakota.
basing it on that is
There.
because have you seen how many police cars they have in New York?
Yeah, but if I slipped them a $5.
Yeah,
then
but
I
the
could
police
just
cars can't
stab
get
you
lightning.
with
The NYPD.
Yeah,
Well,
and also,
if you find out.
and also with the police cars in New York, they can't get anywhere. There's too much traffic.
No,
Actually,
okay,
come-
I'll tell you what. I'll stay in England because the police force is less corrupt and there's less people who are
Go to
ridiculously.
Portland, Maine.
You
So
have
you
no. England has a ton of high crime rate.
Come to.
I know, but the police are competent,
Oh,
so it's okay.
Alex, come to Portland, Maine, because we actually have we were rated the best place to live in America.
What?
Well, that'll do.
Yeah, for our the services.
Actually, my
that are
town is
provided, the low crime rate. The
my town made the
clean
I
living,
think it was like
all this shit.
See, the other thing you're
We're
forgetting
the highest
also
rated
is
place.
my town's in the top
like,
100.
London, the reason the crime rate is high, it's not as bad as Manchester, but the reason the crime rate is high in London is because different boroughs, like for instance, the borough of Tower Hamlets is an absolutely horrible place. I feel sorry for any police officers that have to work there. And other places like Richmond are ridiculously wealthy, and there's no crime, so it averages out. But
I
the
don't
reason the crime rate is so
averages
high
out.
is because
But
well, no, the
when
reason
you
the crime
keep
rate is high
saying
is because there's a lot of
Yeah.
bad, like really bad areas, but more good areas that aren't
Yeah.
very big.
Well,
also,
Alex,
when you say
I'm-
boroughs, I can't help but think of Harry Potter for some reason, like with the different divisions of the classes, sort of thing in like England.
Same.
To be
basic-
fair, boroughs exist in the U.S. as well.
Yeah, I know they do, but just the way
New
he's
York
saying it makes
has,
it sound like they're
you know,
classes.
Manhattan, the Bronx,
Five boroughs. There's
Brooklyn.
5 of them.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, we
Queens.
don't have that in California.
Yeah. By the way, though, Lightning Rabbit, I have a two-part question for you. One, would you go to Oakland then?
Dear Lord, don't go to Oakland.
It's got a name that suggests I probably wouldn't like it there.
I see.
Would
So,
you go to San Francisco?
Are you a racist?
Probably.
So
by
you are
America's
saying that you would
standards.
not want to go to Oakland because it has a very large African American population. Is
If
that
it's
what you're
got a
saying?
high crime rate, that's all I'm worried about. I don't
Oh,
care
so you're
what
saying that
race
just
they
because
are.
it has a large African American population, it'll have a large crime rate then?
Yes,
No.
of course. That's
Well,
not
That's
logical.
what I said. I think actually what I said was if it's got a large crime rate, I don't care about the race.
You
I'm
know,
not suggesting, of course, that I would
you
care
say
about the race if there was a
would
low
care
crime
about,
rate.
You would care about the race if it was a low crime
I guess the
population.
point
zone.
before you did, you can't use it against me.
I still think you should come to California. You need
it
to.
was like a medium crime rate.
That's fine as well. The point is, I'm not a racist, but I don't care what race you are, as long as you don't try and mug me or stab me or rape me. I'm
I don't
perfectly
care what
fine.
race you are. Just leave me alone. I'm British. I have a fancy hat. That sort of thing.
Yeah,
You should
I
come to
think it'd be-
California.
you can be black, white, Asian, equestrian. I honestly don't care. As long as you don't shove a knife in my face and ask me for all my money, I'm perfectly fine with you.
Almost
Shove a knife in your face
as
and then
for
ask.
East Islander or a Pacific Islander, then no, then
Oh, I've got a problem with them. Yeah, damn East Islanders.
I actually went to a lot of classes with a couple of guys from the Pacific Islands, and they are awesome dudes.
Oh yeah, the Pacific Islanders are pretty cool.
Yeah,
I went to Hawaii once.
Seriously,
Hey,
Cyprus. It's the
AR?
only place
Maui.
I've been to.
Yes,
Outside the country.
Where's Bellflower, California?
that's down south. I don't know where down south, but it's, yeah, down south.
just discuss it with your
Fun
racism,
fact.
Alex.
Did you know that there's a Baltimore in England and Ireland?
Wow, does it suck too?
Probably.
It's a
It was the
really
name
nice
like
kind of
that.
small town area.
It's Baltimore.
Baltimore.
I'm guessing
Hey,
Cloudsdale was based on
God's
like the
home.
town in England which is called Clydesdale, which is where those big horses come from. Just
Well,
a guess.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably. Yeah, a
Just
combination
again.
of that and that's Clydesdale. Yeah, gonna say yeah.
Just gonna guess
Yeah.
that.
I mean, the name was, but obviously the
The whole thing is
Visual-
Greco-Roman. Yeah.
yeah, it's all well Greek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you say Roman, I think of Agricola, which is my favourite word now.
You know who's the best Roman?
Oh, that's
Agrippa.
pretty.
Agrippa was a boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm looking
Which-
at I'm looking at a
truthfully, I
train
can't
right
agree
now.
I
with
feel
that.
like
I mean,
we're
I can't
getting
argue
away
with that.
from the whole Equestria Girls thing.
Well, the point.
Country Girls
Oh,
is probably good. Go and see it if you can. There you go.
there we go. Yeah, I kind of like talking
That
about
summed it up
England and
nicely.
racist
Um,
lightning here.
Yeah.
I'm not racist.
The important thing is we're not racist.
What about? Okay, well, hold on. What about against the French?
Yeah, you hate the French.
Okay, yeah, but doesn't everyone though?
Well, that's true. So
you.
technically, and technically, the French aren't a race; they're a group of people.
Well, see, even better, we're allowed to hate them, and you can't possibly brand us racist.
What if we have French fans? We
Not
just
that
lost
anyone
half
would,
of them.
because the people branding us racists would be the same people who also hated the French, because no one likes them.
You guys bash the French so much you don't have any French fans.
No,
Well,
Actually,
no.
we do have at least one French fan because my French family and two my French friends watch the show.
Wait.
Oh,
So we
okay.
do have French
sorry, guys.
I'm not sorry at all.
If I meet you in real life, I promise I'm not a racist.
To be fair,
You can
Well,
tell
it's
by
just
looking at
established
him.
it's
He's
not
more of a
racist,
hippie in all
the
honesty.
funny thing about
Anyways.
being like, okay, seriously, we're not racist though, is that most of my French friends are actually like my one.
Oh
Really
yeah, that's true. Actually, that's why I don't like them. I
horribly
remember that.
anti-Semitic. Like
Yeah.
he's horrendously anti-Semitic.
Is he going to be watching this and hear like he's anti-Semitic? He's like, oh, what does that
Yeah,
even
he
mean?
knows- He knows I'm
The
Jewish.
Nazi symbolism was unexpected.
You know,
He doesn't like
actually,
Nazis either. He hates the Germans and he hates the Jews.
Does he
I
hate
actually
us?
found out
He doesn't
recently,
mind.
which is I found out quite an interesting fact about the French, that one of the only times they actually managed to hurt an enemy soldier was in surrendering. When they dropped their rifles, it landed on the toe of one of the soldiers. And he was in hospital for a couple of days.
I can actually say, is that legitimate?
Yes.
Probably at some point, yeah, because like history is weird that way.
Lightning, did you ever find out the 100-Year War, who was fighting who?
Duhad?
The 100 Years War.
Yeah, wasn't that the French and like some other
I know
country
the
that
War
beat
of the
them?
Roses was France and
there's France and England. France and England. The 100 Years War included France and England. I think they're fighting over Normandy.
Yeah.
The thing is, Alsace-Lorraine and Normandy have changed hands so many times between warring nations that they basically don't count as belonging to either nation at this point.
Yeah, it's true.
no one even knows who belongs to who anymore.
Who are we? They keep asking themselves.
Which is actually why my French friend is like super anti-German as well, because he lives in Alsace-Lorraine and he's like, "You goddamn Germans keep on taking my homeland away from
His
France."
fault. He introduced the reparations payment that his country did. So, that was the thing that I found the funniest, was the fact that France was a big advocate of the whole making Germany pay a load of money back. And they were like, yeah, you're going to pay for having a war on our ground. And then as soon as they started fighting in World War II, it was like, oh god, don't
Oh god, not the French.
At least there were some of them there who started up the resistance, but the government was just running out the back door as soon as Germany
Well,
came
you also
in
have to
past
remember
their
the French government.
defensive line.
I assume the government that was in power when Germany came in, they weren't expecting that to be long, actually. The French government doesn't last too long when they change offices. So, like, every 6 months they change out people. They're not very consistent in that. And
Hell with this country. They're only going to pay me to keep doing my job for another 3 months.
and they're like,
I'm
another
out.
3 months, we'll be fine. I didn't expect there to be a war when we were on the job. So they just ran away. Anyways.
To be fair, I can actually sort of imagine the American political system being applied to world war of France, just the two sides, the two political sides, just refusing to take any money to hire more troops, just because doing so would possibly help their competition, so the entire country just falls
Weren't they
apart.
still using old cannons?
Yeah, they work.
Yeah.
Why would we change them? They work.
Well, no, I mean France was probably.
Oh, France. Yeah. Okay.
France was-
Okay, I thought you were talking about us. I'm
That's
like,
what
oh, yeah, they
in the
work.
front
I mean, they're
door, and they were still using World War
Well,
One
it's
cannons.
why is it they work? The problem is they didn't.
Yeah,
work.
I know. I thought he was talking about
Why do you think France was
Well,
taking
no, I
over?
thought
so
you were
quickly?
talking about recent America. I'm like, well, we have tanks and stuff from 2000 that actually no, 2008 we're still using. I'm like, that's really
Because
old.
they're reliable.
Yeah, it is.
You know what's funny
What?
is that the French were our ace in the hole during the Revolutionary War.
They
Oh,
were. The French were.
gentlemen.
Yeah, the
They came
were
and saved
more-
their ass.
Yeah, the French were more
Yeah.
important to America's independence, war than America was.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
I went
way
up-
more.
And then America got better.
I am really one thing I have the utmost respect fighting wise, if you can even have respect for someone who has a war. The French did actually do a really good job of fighting the British in America, but to be fair, they did bring their whole army, and there were only 400,000 British troops, or
So
40,000,
you guys
one
should
of
have just
those two.
invaded France.
And that was against not only the French but also anyone who was living in America at the time, which had linked me to an
I
article
was
about
there.
that. So,
I was there.
it wasn't exactly a fair fight, but at least they did win this time. Now I know that sounds like a backhanded comment, but I swear it is.
To be fair, they also had the force of America behind them, not the actual
Yeah.
country, because that didn't exist yet. But just the soil of America.
Also, it may have been that
From
maybe
the
in a
moment
foreign
the American
land.
people touched that ground, they knew it was their home, and they knew to defend
They
it.
knew the swamplands in Louisiana were their home.
That is where Swamp Man came from.
The French
Apparently,
invented swamp
as
man
a
and
random
Sasquatch.
side note, someone has just come in the back. Someone has come in the office door and said that I've got a very nice burger waiting for me on the desk. So, not to hurry this along, but I do like
Well,
burgers.
but you also like making
Okay,
fun
fair
of the
enough. I think
French.
Oh, so you like the Germans? Hey, hooray! Welcome to the fold. All right,
I like
well,
German.
I think we're
I can
about
speak
at the
German.
end of what we want to talk about anyway. And
I
we've
like
gotten horribly
Germans. I
off track
speak
from-
German. That's your
from
only
our
comments
topic.
about the German.
Woo, Germany!
Hey, Germany, Deutschland.
I do own a
Deutschland,
Volkswagen.
No, that's the old one. That's not. No, it's the wrong one. They changed it since then.
Oh well, I don't know what the one is.
I own the Volkswagen, if that counts for anything.
Well, it's okay. Anyway, let us break for this week, and we will see you guys
So we're
again.
done?
Hopefully,
I love our
next
French
week.
tangents.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys
Bye.
next time.
Please get a
See ya.
life. Lightning. There you go.
Deutschland.